Okay, well, here we are back again. Blue Heinz Garage. Welcome, everyone. Got these things fitted with the bed in place yesterday afternoon. We took some dimensions from this cross member that goes around the backside of the rear differential. We took some dimensions from that to the rearmost cross member in the bed, so we can modify the cross member without having to put the bed back on. We know where the cross member needs to go. And like I said, so what I'm going to do right now is get this area ready for welding. You see, I got some bare metal that's going to weld real nice, and a whole bunch of stuff that's got what do they call that? Red lead or thereabouts, because this thing is quite old. I bought this thing roughly 25 years ago from all Ford parts in down near San Jose in California, Northern California. It's a Brookville bed. Like I said, I bought it off of their showroom floor. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here, you see, that's how those are going to work. That's going to weld in there, right there. Bolt will come through that, the webbing will go underneath it. It'll act like a mounting area, a nice solid mounting area. You can see it's three-sided. It's going to make a box. Put one on each side there, and there's one going to go right where that hole is. Goes on top of this tab. Going to make the same thing there. Two sides with a round radius in the front and a top. So that'll be a body mount. On the top, I'm going to weld a nut, I think, on the inside of the top plate, and weld a nut on the inside of the bottom plate, or a piece, or a rod coupling if it's the right. If a rod coupling is the right dimension to go from end to end, wall to wall, so that I can use the top as a body mount, a bed mount, and the bottom as a snubber for the rear end. So anyway, that's kind of the plan at this point. Anyway, so like I said, I'm going to get this area ready for welding because I got two of those made. The other one's on the bench, still on the workbench. And then I'm going to start fabricating the ones with the round radius in the front. So talk to you later. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. Well, we spent most of the day yesterday getting these areas ready. You notice all the paint's gone there, ready for welding. Okay. The paint's gone on all the areas where it's going to get welded. Okay. And the holes got enlarged slightly. The hole there that we're looking at to mount is that one. This one here is a hole that was intended to bolt the wood to this bracket. Okay, and then made all the pieces to do these, to create boxes out of those tabs. And that takes a ton of time, all those little pieces. So there's one. There's the other one. Unfortunately, I got to take that apart because I got to make the top plate. And in order to, well, yeah, I got to make the top plate. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to have to take that apart before it gets tack welded. You see, I've got a piece of 3-inch flat here, and I've made the radius for the ends. I've done it on both ends. So now what I have to do is measure and cut the straight, and then drill a hole. And what I'm going to do here, if I can get this lid off with one hand. I know I'm going to spill this. Come on. There it goes. I think. Man, they don't make it easy, do they? There. You can see in here. What I have there is, I think 5 3/8 16 nuts, cadmium plated, and a couple of 3/8 16 rod couplings that I'm pickling. I got it in white vinegar to take the plating off so they can be welded. What I'm going to do on these, you see where that round magnet, that's an old speaker magnet. You see where that round magnet is there. There's a hole in the bottom of that tab, and that's what the bed bolts to the tab through that hole. The piece of wood would go over the top of that tab as a filler between the bottom of the bed and that tab. What I'm doing is simulating that idea with the metal here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm making a top and a bottom, and like I said, I'm creating a filler that would replace the wood that used to be there. And what I'm going to do is utilize the fact that I have a box here. I'm going to put a rod coupling that goes from the bottom to the top. And that way I can bolt the bed to the top. And on the bottom, I can use it for a snubber over the differential, because the differential is directly under that tab. And now that that tab is a box, it's quite a lot stronger than it used to be. So that one location will provide two purposes. It'll be a snubber mount on the bottom and the bed mount on the top. I'll just use two bolts that are, you know, won't conflict with each other going through that. Rod coupling that I put in the pickling, in the vinegar. Oh, I don't know, had to be close to 2 inches long. It needs to be 1 3/8 inches. This whole assembly here, this whole filler piece here, is 1.5 inches tall. So the coupling needs to be between the two plates, top and bottom plate, which means it needs to be 1.25 inches long. The plates are 1/8 inch each. No, 1 3/8 inches, because the 1.5 inches is not measured from the bottom of that bottom plate. It's measured from the top of the bottom, so you don't count that 1/8 inch. 1 3/8 inches. It would be the length of the rod coupling that I'm putting in there. So by the time it goes through something on the top and whatever else, you know, the lock washer and all of that, if I use 1 inch bolt or 3/4 inch bolt or whatever on each end, the top and the bottom, they aren't going to touch each other in the middle. But anyway, that's the plan. The other thing is, and by the way, the rod coupling will act as a crush sleeve too. This is what I'm doing on the front mounts. I'm using a piece of black pipe, you know, like gas piping, plumbing gas piping, as a crush sleeve here. And since the holes are so close to the edge, rather than leave the sleeve and limit where the hole could go, what I've done is cut a slot in that sleeve. So what I'm going to do right now is get a bolt that'll reach through there, put a washer on the top, or a piece of all thread, put a washer on the top and bolt that in place so that it's ready for my son to weld it. He's just going to put a couple of tacks, probably 3 tacks, 2 on each, on the front here, on the outside edge here, and 1 in the middle. And then that can, you know, that's set to go in place. I'm going to do both of those. Am I showing you the thing? Yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's where we're at. So here we go. Well, here we are. We're ready. To actually started welding it already. Got the spreader in the center. Got it clamped together so it tightens up all the areas where it goes together. You see, he's got some tacks on there already. All right. I'll show you more when he's welding. Well, here's the beginning of the frame modification. Gotta make sure it doesn't move when we cut the rear cross member in pieces. Okay, so this is where we ended up today. We got these installed. So that's ready to accept the bed. I mean, we've got to be finished welded. It's only you might say heavily tacked. Okay. And we have, let's get rid of this. We have this stuff across the frame so we can cut it here and here and bring that cross member back behind where you see the cherry picker standing now. And so that, like I say, we can support the back of the bed with it and make a lot more access running through here for the exhaust. And you see what we've done. I've removed the coilovers because we're going to be working right in that area, obviously. Remove the coilovers so we got support under the differential with the jack stands. And we re-supported the rest of the chassis with the jack stands under the 4-bar brackets up here in the front. So that's kind of where we're at. It's time for me to start whittling. I've got 2x3 tubing I bought the other day. I have to get a little more 2-inch flat stock to use as end caps on the tubing. And Scott brought this animal, which is a chop saw for steel. He said, make sure you wear eye protection, make sure you wear ear protection. I'm assuming you should wear gloves too. Anyway, I'll be making a lot of noise, chewing through some steel with a metal blade. It's a blade that's designed for that, but he said it screams, screeches, screams, whatever. It makes a lot of noise. Anyway, later. Well, came out here after lunch today. Had an appointment this morning, and this is as far as I got on the crossmember modification. Got it all cut and ready to glue together. Scott brought me a chop saw. Metal cutting chop saw, not an abrasive one. So like I said earlier, I think I mentioned earlier, where you see the black line there, that's approximately where it cuts. And that's approximately where it cuts, and it comes, you saw the shape over there, horseshoe shape, straight back and across. So I'm not cutting the cross member till this is all welded up, so I have an accurate measurement. You know, you put heat on this stuff when you weld it and it moves. So let's do that first, and then we'll get a measurement and cut it. See if we can make an accurate cut to make it fit. As hard as I tried to get that saw to cut an accurate 45, essentially I failed. Because when you put these legs on the back piece and you put them square, it opens up the inside a little bit. And that's even with the, I have the square for the, what do you call here, the disc sander. You see I've got that also set at 45 degrees. And even with that, I ran that until it was sanded. The whole face of the cut was sanded. And I still got what I got. So it's very, very difficult to get accurate 45 degree angles on this stuff. So the result is, by the time I played with it and tried to true it up or whatever else, it's about 3/16 narrower than what I wanted. So like I said, at this point, I can go with that dimension. It's not a critical dimension. I just don't want to make a cut and then have the cut be bigger than the piece that I'm putting in it. So at this point, I'm gonna, play the odds and weld this up, then put it there in place and mark it, or measure it after it's welded so that if it shrinks or stretches or whatever it does, I can account for it. And then I'll get the disc out and cut the other cross member. We got some pieces welded across the frame to keep it from moving. See there? Those are welded in there. So that ought to hold it where it is now. Yeah, so anyway, you say this stuff got all tacked yesterday. So anyway, that's it for now. Later. Okay, well, we're going to be cutting this frame in half at some point, not right away. But so I thought it'd be a good idea to once again get it back to level, both directions. So you can see here, you can see here that's at 0, and you put it on the two side rails, it's at 0 too. So we're level one more time. So as soon, not sure how soon, but soon we're going to be cutting it in half, right about where you see that black line. And right about there where you see the black line. And it's going to come straight back and then go across, straight across. So, I'll show you more about that and when it happens later. Hey, well, after about 2 hours worth of grinding, this is what we have. I don't know how well you can see that. Okay. Think it'll look okay? On to the next step. Okay, well, this is where it's going to live once we cut it in. Just like that. So you see what that's going to do is not only give us a bed mount on the back, but it's going to get rid of this. So we're going to have all this room coming through here for exhaust. The exhaust on this thing is a little strange. It goes over the top of the rear end, but it don't go back down. It pretty much stays right under the cross member. In order to come out, below that rolled pan, see the rolled pan there? It has to stay just below the cross member. It doesn't, I guess because of the kick in the frame, just the way these things are built, it goes up over the top, but unlike a modern car, it doesn't go back down cause why? Here's the modern car. Well, 1957. That one doesn't have to go down a whole lot either below once it crosses over the top of the rear end, because there's the back of the rear cross member. It's up there. Huh. Okay, well, that's kind of a misconception, I guess. Okay, well, there's the rest of the day. You notice this piece is gone, and this one's all ground. That's what that looks like at this point. Kind of rough yet. Right now they're still undersized. The piece doesn't fit in there. I cut them on the, and I tried to cut it on the small side so I could trim it to fit. Since I couldn't get too accurate with the marks, and getting in there with the tools to make the cuts was less than easy, so getting accurate cuts was going to be So anyway, like I said, I cut it smaller purposely. I can whittle it now until it fits. Okay, well, you can see I try to do some more layout work here for the fillers to come up, the fuel filler to come up here inside the bed. I don't know how accurate this is. I'm going to have Scott see if he comes up with the same lines. There's a lot of stuff to deal with here. You see the way the bed is shaped, all these different lines, different edges, and the frame is in underneath there as well. The frame, that hole, there's a bolt goes through that hole into the top of the frame. So the frame is under there too, and there's like, I forgot what it was, 5 3/4 inches from the top of the frame to the wood here in the bed, the bottom of the bed. So there's some room for, there's some wiggle room, as long as we don't create a hole here that's outside anything that's below this on the bed. That's what we got to be careful of. We don't drill a hole here that's half in and half out of the edge of the bottom edge of the bed, all that framework under the bed. So anyway, Scott's supposed to be coming over at some point later today to weld this in place. See, it's all clamped there and it's all dialed in as far as level, straight, all that good stuff. You can see he's going to weld that intersection right there that you're seeing. And this one right here, it's the same as this on the other side. That's anyway, so this is all ground and it has been pickled because it's hot rolled steel, and that type of steel has a scale on it, dark colored, really hard metallic scale on it. So, and you put it in white vinegar overnight or a few hours and that scale comes right off. So that's why it looks, you see it looks kind of that silvery color. The hot rolled steel is more, almost looks like the bluing there. It's more of a blackish color. Anyway. Okay, well, Scott's here doing his magic. Making it permanent until someone else like us comes along with a cutting disc. All it took was that many clamps and a whole bunch of other tools. I don't know what he did with all of the hardware that was clamped there. You bent the pipe or you bent the tool?
Tool.
Really?
Didn't even realize it.
I think it worked really good on the pallets I took apart.
I got down one side, I was doing the outside edge, and I went all the way down one side, and I looked and the forks were bent.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I think we need to gussets on it.
Surprised. What he's talking about is this. It's a tool. It's a tool that I don't know who sells for taking pallets apart. So he's talking about. You see those? See where the paint's missing there? I guess where those pieces bent. He had an oak pallet that was made out of oak, and it was nailed together with those nails that are barred, so they don't come out easy. Like I say, when I used it, evidently the pallets weren't made as well because it took them right out. Okay, well, the top side is all welded. There you go. And we got a little stitch or two in the back where that gusset is. You see right there. There you go. And the other side. Right there. Down the back. And the gusset. So, top side is all welded. I can cut these. I can cut these temporary pieces off, and that part is done. Put the bed back on, and then once the bed is on, then we can determine what exactly we want to do here for the rear bed mounts that we're adding. So that's kind of the next step. See you later. Bye.